Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast, and today we got a lot to talk about. We're a couple months out from the release of Pokemon Legends ZA. This game is highly anticipated, and there's a lot that we do know. So today what we're going to do is recap everything that we know about Pokemon Legends ZA. This is what kind of Pokemon are going to be in the game, what the plot's going to be, how the gameplay is going to function. And at the end of the video, and this will be completely segmented, but at the very end of the video, we will be covering the leaks that we do know about this game. Again, spoiler warning, we will segment these things.
There's timestamps, so you can easily see.
Timestamps are in the description of this video, so there will be no spoilering that happens. Listen, this is going to be a lot of fun. My name is DustyGogoat. Today I'm joined by TraderLumi.
Hello.
Let's get into it, man.
First off, one really big thing about Legends ZA, Dusty, is the game itself is going to be releasing on 2 different consoles. It is releasing with a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 edition.
That is pretty cool, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so anyone who gets the Switch 2 can actually feel like... what this does is it kind of poises Legends ZA, right? This new ambitious title. That's how the Pokemon Company has positioned this game, that it's ambitious. Because of the real-time combat. This game is also going to be essentially marketed as a Switch 2 game, which is good for us who end up getting it.
And not only that, so like the Switch 1 and Switch 2 versions, there is a price difference. The Switch 2 version is $10 more, US dollars at least. But
yeah,
the nice
I kind of want to. I mean, that's all real, but I kind of want to start with like maybe top level, right? Maybe maybe for people who haven't even been keeping up, right? Maybe they just started playing Pokemon today, right? Like, so this game, Pokemon Legends, it's kind of a side action RPG to the standard Pokemon titles, right? The standard Pokemon titles being Sword and Shield, Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet. So this is a return. This game, Legends ZA, takes place in the Kalos region, which is one of the primary locations of the Kalos region. The Kalos region is based on France, and the Kalos region was originally featured in Pokemon X and Y on the 3DS. So the whole game is going to take place in Lumio City. That's another thing. So this is like an urban adventure. It's present day, and we get a new set of returning starters. Maybe we'll set it up right there. I think that's some top level information to understand this title.
And here's the beautiful little buddies that we're starting on with. And this was kind of, a mind blowing thing because you got 2 Johtos in there and 1 Unova. Yeah. That was just a whole, a little weird.
So the starter Pokemon of this game are going to be Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile. That's grass, fire, water. You can see them right now on the screen if you're watching the video. I think you can also watch the video on Spotify if you're listening.
And I think the interesting underlining, I guess, to these starters is that with Legends Arceus, we did see Oshawott, Rowlet, and Cyndaquil did eventually get new forms in those games. So I think a lot of people are looking at these starters and hoping it could be similar. Now, there is the argument to be made. Maybe the Pokemon Company knows that we're wanting them to get something, so maybe they're like, no, keep us on our toes. But,
we've done plenty of speculation on this podcast of whether or not these starter Pokemon are going to receive like a new, I guess, regional forms for their final starters, right? Regional Emboar, regional Meganium. Maybe these Pokemon will have like kind of a split evolution or like a regional evolution, not a regional form for their evolution, but like a regional evolution. Kind of like, what's a good example?
Sirfetch'd, Sneasler.
Sure. Yeah. So those are like completely new evolutions for the final stage. So it wouldn't be for Alligator, but a brand new Pokemon. That's an option.
Sure.
I think a lot of people are also expecting, right? Because this is another big thing. Mega Evolution is going to be heavily featured in this game. We've seen it throughout all of the marketing.
It's on the box art.
It's on the box. Yeah, that's another thing. It's on the box art. So a lot of people are also expecting Megas, these final starter Pokemon for Alligator, Meganium, Emboar to receive Mega Evolutions. That's also a pretty big, expectation or prediction. Yeah, whatever prediction. But yeah, just recently we did get the release date for these games, which is going to be October 16th. That's exciting. a lot closer than honestly, a lot. That's a much earlier release date than most Pokemon games. That's actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's about a month. And also interestingly, I think it was October 12th was the release. It was like either 12th, 13th, something like that was the release of X and Y. So it's cool that it's also like that was our last time we were in the Kalos region. So it's like right around it, which is kind of neat. But yeah, October 16th, that's pretty exciting. And one could speculate based on that, if maybe there's room for them to do an update for this game, like some kind of DLC. That's like where my mind goes, but of course that's just speculation.
Yeah, listen, we got to talk about what we do know, right?
Yeah,
we got to talk about what we do know.
Yeah.
So I think you can maybe return to your list.
Yeah.
I just wanted to set all that up for people who aren't like.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of people
that you
who
did
don't.
Because I was able to like go ahead and like I'm marking them through on the list.
Okay.
So I was able to mark those off.
Listen, those are the heavy hitters. That's what like is exciting to me, and for people who aren't locked into the Legends EA discourse, over the last 2 years, like those are like the big things that I think a lot of people care about.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else is on your list?
Well, to go back to the Switch 1 and 2 versions quickly, because I think this is something really interesting. I think a lot of people have overlooked this. So when you go to the store and you purchase this game, you will see a Switch 1 version or you'll see a Switch 2 version. If you purchase a Switch 1 version and then say next year you buy a Nintendo Switch 2, you actually will be able to, for $10, upgrade your Switch 1 version to a Switch 2 version. So I do think that's nice that like, it's not like, okay, you've spent $60 and now you're going to have to go back to the store and spend another $70. No, you'll just spend $10.
You could treat this like a DLC, really.
Yeah. And the Switch 2 version, what we know about it is that it will have better performance and enhanced visuals. There's no confirmation because I know other games are getting Switch 2 versions like Metroid Prime 4, and they actually will have like exclusive features. There is no word that this game will have that. The only thing they've said is better performance and enhanced visuals. So take that as you will. Like you said, the game is entirely set in Lumio City, which I kind of wanted to touch on again because that's absurd for Pokemon. I mean,
no, it's really, really cool. I think that's again the Pokemon Company, the Game Freak have talked about this game as if it's ambitious, and I do think this is one of the things that make it ambitious.
Absolutely.
Coming off the heels of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the first open world Pokemon game, I think it's pretty unanimous. It's a fun game. Scarlet and Violet was a fun game, but it had a lot of glaring issues. One of them being that the world felt so empty, right? And making this giant, every Pokemon game introduces a new region for us to explore. And then we finally reach an open world Pokemon game and it's empty. It's barren. So coming off the heels of that, playing a new game, you can see gameplay right here, Legends EA, where the whole game takes place in a city, but the city is to scale, right? It's to scale to the Pokemon, to the trainer, and you're able to, there's like a verticality to this region.
Look,
right?
you're on a rooftop right here if you're watching,
literally, yeah. I think that's a big deal.
Oh,
we're going to be traversing the city like a maze. We're going to be able to go underneath these underpassages, down alleyways. There's like rivers and streams and other, look at this is like a battlefield right here. You can see, I don't know. This seems so good to me when it comes to like immersion, right? I think a lot of Pokemon games, when we were first introduced to Pokemon games back in the day, like you go to a city and there's 10 buildings and you got to fill in the gaps with your imagination. And I think what I'm most excited about when it comes to ZA is that like I won't need to use all of my imagination. Like maybe there's only 10% there, right? And the 10% is working overtime trying to forget about the infamous flat windows, right? That the Twitter loves to scream about. But for the most part, I think we're going to be able to see Lumio City for the first time fleshed out in its entirety, right?
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that there's a lot of really fun things to do in this world. I don't know. I think anywhere that you can see, you can go and visit, interact with. You can go on the rooftops. You can treat these like a maze. I don't know. It excites me, and it also, just last point, it also makes me excited because when I'm thinking about the Pokemon world, these games are a way for me to access this world. Now that we're able to see Legends EA, now that we're able to see Lumio City to scale, I can now imagine like Saffron City, or I'm able to imagine Lavender Town,
all that
or
space in Wyndham we couldn't go see.
yeah. Or think about like your favorite locations in the Johto region or the Unova region or whatever. Like it's giving me a glimpse into the Pokemon world that is to scale, right? When you think about like, I don't know, growing up watching the anime, and it would take like 5 days for Ash and Misty and Brock to go from island to island, or go from like city to city. Like that's kind of what this game is giving us a glimpse at. So I think it is a really big deal that this whole game takes place in Lumio City. We'll see if it's fun.
Yeah,
but I'm hopeful for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they spent like 3 episodes in Viridian Forest. I spent 30 minutes,
right?
You know?
Yeah, exactly,
It's cool
exactly.
It's really cool,
which is fine for what it is, but like, like going into the future, this is the kind of like open world Pokemon that I want to see more of. You know?
Yeah, and it's a nice. I mean, and I don't know if like. Have they said if these games are open world or if it will be like a segmented story? Either way, the point is the way the world looks is kind of like, I think a nice setup for what the future of Pokemon can look like. Like you're talking about how you can like reimagine these things we've seen before. It allows me to like kind of imagine what's coming, and like, okay, a lot of complaints about Scarlet and Violet was that the world was very barren, but since this is a city, while there might be a lot of windows that are copy pasted, I at least like there's different shapes of buildings and that little shot of the skyline and stuff. And so it's just, I don't know, it's visually pleasing to me. But if you remember back in elementary school when we were learning about the setting, it was not only the place but also the time. This game is confirmed to take place after the events of Pokemon X and Y, which is
that's kind of cool.
Very cool.
Lumi, that's pretty cool. I just government named you.
That's totally fine. I think people know my name is Zach. It's fine.
I think that honestly is really cool to think that like. Yeah, no, go on. I'm gonna monologue again. Go on,
dude. Yeah, it's cool. It is cool. I mean, I could monologue about that myself. It's we haven't seen a sequel to a region since Black and White 2. And then of course you could say Gold and Silver is kind of a sequel because you do get to return to Kanto. But
those are the things that I enjoy in the Pokemon like games.
Same.
I
like to see.
I think it's really
grow.
fun. Yeah, the characters grow. You get to watch like. They basically get to do a lot of like environmental storytelling where like, I don't know. I remember going back to Lavender Town in my silver version for the first time and seeing that the cemetery building, right? Yeah. Where the dead Marowak was, is now a radio tower.
Yeah. They literally built a radio tower on a cemetery.
Yeah.
That place is haunted.
Yeah. And it's so cursed.
Cursed. Yeah.
Like things like there's space for that. So now that this is Legends EA is kind of confirmed to be, it's a technical sequel. A technical sequel. We'll see if not even we'll see, because I'm looking at a character right now on the screen that has shown some progression.
Yeah, and so
we're gonna see characters
progress. Segue is some characters we know about are some returning characters. RAZ here and his Eternal Flower Floette, they now run a hotel called Hotel Z. Very on the nose, if you ask me, but okay. And then, while not confirmed, if you look at the protagonists of this game, they look like they could be a child of Sycamore. Like there's very clearly,
I see it.
They're going for some kind of you're totally somehow related to the professor. Like they're clearly doing the resemblance.
Yeah, the male character looks like Sycamore, Professor Sycamore, who was the professor in X and Y. And then you got the female protagonist, I honestly think looks a lot like your mother, like the player character's mother in X and Y.
She looks a lot like Grace.
who was in that game, or at least, who was like a Rhyhorn racer. She had her own Pokemon. It'd be kind of interesting to see, just like if they're because actually what that would imply is almost like if this is a future game, that's either like it could be like, is the female protagonist, maybe both of the protagonists, are they relatives of the main characters of X and Y?
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever seen that before.
If you were the kid,
younger
hypothetically,
siblings,
of Grace
nieces
and Sycamore,
and nephews,
you'd be the half sibling of like the hero of Kalos, right?
Insane. That's kind of cool.
Very, very cool.
And so we're thinking this is like 10 years potentially 12 or 13 years after X and Y to mimic the distance or the time between when X and Y released and ZA released. I think that's kind of what people are
I've
assuming.
kind of done some like digging as best I could, and I think it definitely is. People that I would certainly say are much smarter than myself in that area, like Lord Keeper Toby, have also done it and come up with similar numbers. So, while the Pokemon Company hasn't outright given us a hard year, and to be honest, I'd be kind of shocked if they did outright give us a hard year. I think the idea is, yes, it's supposed to be 10 years, but it's definitely a sequel because AZ was a war criminal and now he runs a hotel. So,
sure.
Big change there. Also another returning character, and this is kind of an interesting one because this wasn't from a trailer, but from the box art of the game is Emma, who, to give a recap on her, because she wasn't really in the story of X and Y, she was in the post-game story. She was a character who, in the post-game, was a homeless girl who was being manipulated by like a leftover cell of Team Flare. And you helped Looker help her, and eventually it ended with Looker handing over his detective agency that he had set up in Lumio City to her. And sure enough, on the box art of this game, you can see her wearing her Sentia suit, which was like the suit that Team Flare was kind of manipulating her with, and a trench coat, clearly showing she's doing the detective thing still,
Yep.
So that one's just so fun to me because they didn't give a trailer, AZ they made a big deal about and all. They were like, oh, this is AZ. You remember AZ? Emma, they were just like, she's on the box art.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what she's doing in this game, but we know she's
here. On the box art.
Right.
She has to have some sort of significance.
Right.
It's
AZ's not even on the box art, but this girl is,
Yeah. You want to talk about AZ?
Yeah. AZ is in the original games, one thing that was very, very heavy to the lore of the Kalos region, so I imagine we're going to be seeing it brought up here, is that a long, long, long time ago, 3,000 years ago to be exact, there was a war in the Kalos region, and AZ, his Floette, who you see here, fought in this war. Floette ended up getting killed, and AZ, mourning the loss of his Floette, created a device to bring it back to life, and it was successful. It gave him and the Floette eternal life. But then he was like, that's not enough. He was angry because, the opposing side had taken the life of his Floette. So he turned the machine into the ultimate weapon and used it to kill the entire other side. So he, committed a giant mass murder. He's got a like death count of like probably millions, and that was something that he kind of had to live with because Floette was like, bruh, that wasn't cool, and separated from him.
Based flower Floette.
Based flower Floette, not the eternal flower. And eventually he does redeem himself in X and Y by kind of giving you advice on how to shut down Team Flare from reviving the ultimate weapon. And so Floette returns to him, and now, seemingly 10 years later, they're running this hotel together and everything's a lot bigger. But since AZ
seems a little sus.
Central, it does seem sus. And I will say, since AZ was one of the first characters they revealed for this game, and since he is the core figure in Kalos lore, I would say he's going to play a heavy role in this game.
Yeah, man, I'm totally with you. I'm trying to pull up some screenshots right here of AZ. This is the cutscene right here of AZ finally being returned with its long lost friend, and you can see this like early version of AZ. He's like apparently been like traveling the world forever. Basically, that's his penance for the crimes he committed 3,000 years ago. And what's interesting is like this is the art. This is how he's been depicted for so long, but now presumably, like right at the end of X and Y, he kind of returns to society. And what we're seeing now with this new official art of AZ in ZA, right? There's whatever the distance is, he looks a little bit different. You still he's kind of like connected, or he's got some new clothing.
He's groomed his hair a little bit better.
Yeah, he's combed his hair. But you can still see he has like some injuries, right, to kind of show his age. I actually really love the design of this. Not that that's that important, but I like the design. I like how they're using all this like stitching and patchwork to depict or to kind of showcase and highlight that like AZ's being held to, like he's lived a very long time, right? Like his clothes continue to fall apart. He has to keep patching things together.
Well, I think the idea
both
too
physically,
is,
but also emotionally.
I think too, like the idea is he's patching clothes together because, well, they don't really make clothes his size because he's actually kind of gigantic. Like he's
but I think it's sure that's an in universe explanation,
Right.
but I do think it's like
the
symbolic.
subtext
I think
is,
it's intentionally symbolic
for sure.
to that he's like he's 3,000 years old.
For sure. I just had to work in there that he is a giant, and that's never really explained.
Sure. Yes.
But he is. He's very tall.
he's literally a giant.
Yeah, there you go. I'm pretty sure this is official too. I think this is like concept art.
Yeah.
But
the tallest characters from Unova are like what, 5.5, 6 feet tall.
Yeah, like you see Berg there, and I always kind of interpreted Berg as a taller guy, but he is, dwarfed in compared to
and I think his size is also another way that the Pokemon Company or Game Freak is trying to showcase his age. He's 3,000 years old. How do you show that on camera or in a character? Theoretically, if you never die, you keep growing, right? Not really. It's not really how it works in the real world. Your vertebrae would shrink a little bit, but like if you keep aging for 3,000 years, you're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Anyways, really cool character. He is returning. We still have a lot of questions. We don't really know that much about him officially. But Eternal Flower Floette is here. We haven't really talked much about Mega Evolution. This might be a good segue, but I look at this thing and I think to myself, it would be super cool if this returning character, right? Because it is a Pokemon, but yeah, for those who don't know, they're Eternal Flower Floette. So like Floette is the mid stage of a 3-line, common Pokemon line. Flabebe evolves into Floette, evolves into Florigis, and this Eternal Flower Floette it does not evolve. It's got heightened stats, kind of, and we've done a lot of theories, kind of relating it to Paradox Pokemon. At least I have. I think it kind of fits that category where it's kind of like a one-off alternative reality of a specific Pokemon. But regardless, I think it'd be cool if like this Pokemon comes back as a serious character and not just a befriended Pokemon. Yeah, like a plot device. And I think another cool way they could work this in is like maybe giving it a Mega Evolution. I hope we can capture this Pokemon and then it does something kind of cool, right?
It was planned at one point. You've never been able to get the Eternal Flower Floette, but there is coding in like Pokemon X and Y, and I want to say even in Sun and Moon. Maybe they scrapped it at that point, but there is coding for this Pokemon. It's got a like level set, like it, level 14 it learns this, level 17, whatever. It has its own signature move. It has its own stats, which are different from a normal Floette stats. So it was very clearly planned to be given out at some point. But it was never given. So I really feel like, and that's kind of always been the thing, is fans have gone like, when are we going to get Eternal Flower Floette? So I would be surprised if at the end of this game we don't have this, like we don't have a way to get it. But
I don't know. I like this design. I'm looking forward to. Cool. I hope we can capture it.
It's pretty
That'd
cool.
Be kind of cool
In comparison to
because it's functionally a legendary or a mythical or something.
Yeah, it's like
so
Blood
rare.
Moon Ursaluna, like where it's like. It feels legendary, even if it's not coded as such.
It's special. It has a story around it. It's nice.
It's
all right.
Cool. But on
do you want to talk about Mega Evolution?
Yeah, on that note of Mega Evolution, that is the returning gimmick in this game, and that's kind of saying something because it's really like the first Pokemon gimmick, honestly. And so I think it kind of holds a. I'm not here to debate on the competitive viability of it, but I think it holds a special place in Pokemon fans' hearts, And it's something that it was in Pokemon X and Y, of course. It was in Pokemon Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And then it's actually been absent since Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. We have not seen it in the mainline game since. They've always kept it alive by having it in Pokemon Go, Pokemon Unite, and even the anime has prominently featured it while it was absent. So from the mainline games, so I think a lot of people are really excited to see this return. I think a lot of people are hoping that we see it return alongside some new ones, since it is the focus of this game. And I think something really cool about it is Mega Evolution has so iconically like revolutionized battling, because it was the first gimmick, and now gimmicks are like a staple of Pokemon battles. And how perfect to bring it back when they are like changing the battle style so much in this game.
Yeah, which we haven't really talked about. I mean, maybe to set that up, Legends EA is going to feature a version of a real-time like combat system, right?
Yep.
Legends Arceus was the first Pokemon Legends title, and it was an action game, but the combat, the battling, like the standard Pokemon battling, was still pseudo turn-based. It was a mix on that system. But what we're going to be seeing in Legends EA is a true blue, like, real-time combat. Like, your trainer, we have footage of the trainer pointing where they want the Pokemon to go. Like, so if you're walking in the overworld and then you see a Bunnelby and you say, Chikorita, go kill it. Go kill the rabbit. Right? And Chikorita seamlessly. There's no cutscene. There's no battle mode. There's no battle zone. Chikorita then goes straight into battle. Some new UI appear on the screen, and you're immediately commanding your Pokemon. We also see, man, I should probably pull it up here, but we also see gameplay. Yeah, here's some of the images right
you got
here.
The stealth
but we also
image
see
there.
yeah, we also see gameplay of I think it's Totodile attacking Tepig with a water gun, and Tepig has to like dodge the Pokemon move. This is, again, something that, going back to the anime, I feel like the anime like kind of defined how the Pokemon world like is in real life, right? Like, when we think about the Pokemon world, I feel like the anime did a lot of legwork, and this is something that we've always seen time and time again. I can hear so clearly in my mind Ash saying Pikachu dodge, as if that's a move. If that's and that is something that never matched up with the video games, and we're starting to see that bridge kind of be that gap start to be bridged, really, where like you can directly control your Pokemon to get the heck out of the way, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's exciting. I'm curious how it'll shake out. I think it's kind of like daunting. I think it's difficult for us as Pokemon fans to like imagine what the gameplay will be. And Lumi, I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of people online who are hesitant to this, I feel like, because I think about this a little bit myself. I almost feel like this a little bit myself. I almost think I'm a little worried there might be like a learning curve, you know, because I do think there's a lot of comfort that I take in Pokemon games. Like, I know how it works. A lot of them are the same, and I don't think that's a problem. And I think there's going to be a learning curve a little bit for this. And a lot of people, I think people are lying to themselves when they say like, I don't know. I've heard a lot of, when this was first announced, I heard a lot of like resistance online. And I think a little bit of that was people kind of not realizing that they actually just are afraid it might be a little bit difficult to begin with. Even Legends Arceus was a little bit difficult. This is kind of what I'm saying. Like, I had friends who said they don't like Legends Arceus. They didn't like it in the beginning, and then a couple of years went by, and they went back to it, got used to it, and they said, you know what? It's actually a great game. I just wasn't ready for it. I want to get right back to Legends EA, Zach, but first, we got to thank our sponsors.
Yeah, we want to thank all of y'all out here supporting the show. There's so many of y'all supporting the show, and we're so grateful. Like, beyond, I can't even begin to express how grateful I am. But we do want to give a special shout out to our mythical tier supporters: Ryan Amphosinus, Cornet Highlander, Chris, Adam Gibson, Tyler Low 15, Night Marcher Ogan, Case, Astro Tempest, Sully the Skeleton, Doom Typhlosion, Hana's Dad, Travis Mashburn, Normal Guy, NMT Arts, Ball Guy Leaks, Northender, and the PokeKid01. We want to give a special shout out to our Arceus tier supporters: SEH, Art Gold, and Red, or Carson K, and a Mega Evolved in the spirit spirit of our Legends EA video today, a mega evolved shout out to our Game Freak Inc. level members, Young Smokey and Bramtastic. We thank you all so much.
Thank you guys so much. That list gets longer and longer every single week. This show would not be possible without your contributions. We appreciate everyone who thumbs up, who listens, who subscribes, who leaves us a rating, but more than anything, the direct funding that you guys do on Patreon, as well as our YouTube channel members. Every single little bit helps. This show is completely independent. Hidden Power is independent. We don't have there's no backing other than you guys. You guys are supporting us, and as long as you do so, we'll continue to grow. We'll continue to be able to bring the best Pokemon content on the internet, the best Pokemon discussions, analysis, and breakdowns on the internet. Best theories, even best theories.
Best guests, best
guest. Absolutely. All of this is. Listen, this started as a dream, and you guys showing up, even at just a $5 tier. Not only are you unlocking so much at that $5 tier, but you're also, radically, changing and influencing the growth of the show, the production of this podcast. I'll tell you this: if you want your name to be read at the end of next week's podcast, the mythical tier or higher. That's Mythical, Arceus, or Game Freak Inc. tiers. Any of those tiers, if you become a supporter at that level, we'll read your name. We'll show you we'll spread the love and show the recognition there. But if every single person who listens every week supported at the lowest tier, we would be able to do this full time. We would be able. Zach could probably buy a house.
Yeah, I want to.
Zach's actually homeless.
I have an apartment, but I am technically homeless.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But seriously, we would be able to. There would be no stress. We could probably go live even more regularly than we do already. And yeah. Anyways, listen.
Yeah, and
I'll tell you this: we could stay independent for as long as for the rest of the time.
Yeah, and there's so much. There's so many perks that you get access to. You get access to the Discord. You get 10% off of all of our merch, which is freaking phenomenal. You get in the Discord, there's so many perks just within that. The access to the Battle League, access to our call-in shows when we do those, access to movie nights, which honestly we should update this to add in the movie nights thing too.
Yeah, I should do that.
But that's a monthly thing that our mod Quill organizes in the Discord. They just watched Rise of Darkrai in there, and I think they're voting right now on what the next movie that they'll be watching is. So that's
it's a tight-knit community, literally. The people who are in there,
everybody in there's friends. They're always chatting. There's so many different channels talk about TCG, the mainline video games, whatever's going on. There's so many places talking there. You also get access to Secret Power, which is our, as the name suggests, secret show exclusive only to our channel members, to our patrons. This includes just us really just yapping, talking about whatever, like Star Wars and Marvel, now that it's owned by Disney.
Yeah, there's an episode up right now from this week where we're talking about a bunch of things. But last week we had a debate about whether or not Disney era Marvel and Star Wars is better than what came before. I'm not even trying to be contrarian, but I actually do think the Disney era brought a lot of cool things to the Star Wars universe.
And but you can watch that video to see why we think our ways and us argue about it. It also includes really personal interviews with some of your favorite creators, people like Lord Keeper Toby, Lockstim, Munching Orange, and so many others. It includes Let's Plays,
a lot of exclusive
Dusty, your
content.
First reaction to Scarlet and Violet is on there.
Yeah, seriously.
Any live streams that we end up privating goes to y'all. So when it's leak season, that's probably where we'll be live streaming our reactions to it, and then so we don't get Nintendo Ninja'd, we will be putting them into. They will be they'll be set for members only.
They'll be uploaded for Patreon, so you guys will always have access to whatever the latest thing that we're covering.
I did the math, and right now, so not even including the episode that actually you just mentioned, Dusty, that we're uploading same time this week. But I did the math, and there is well over, I stopped when I got to 48 hours. There's well over 48 hours worth of content. And I don't mean, oh, you can watch casually over 2 days and have it. No, you would have to not sleep, not eat, none of that for 48 hours to finish our catalog of Secret Path.
Well,
There's so much
they
content.
Might die. They might
don't
die
do that.
if they listen to
I'm
all
not
that.
advising you do that. Okay, I'm just saying that's how much is there.
Listen, there's so many perks. You can see them right here. We appreciate everyone who's supported us in the past, anyone who supports us right now. Again, if you want your name read, you can join at the $25 tier or higher, and we'll recognize you on next week's podcast. Thank you guys so much for your support. As always, we love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting, and we'll talk to you soon. Back to the episode.
Yeah, I think also not only is it a fear of a learning curve, but it is, can we be honest for a moment? We all have this. There's no reason to be ashamed, but it's a fear of change, right? It's the fear that, because I know I felt this a lot. I enjoy the competitive side of the mainline Pokemon games, and so there is a part of me that's like, I welcome a new experience for the Legends games. And genuinely, I'm so excited to play Pokemon battles like this. I would be a little disappointed if they were like, Gen 10, this is how the battle styles are. So I think that's also where some hesitation comes from.
I do think
so. Is the idea that like there's been no hard confirmation that this isn't it forever, you know?
And even the moves, I got a picture right here of a Hippowdon on the roof fighting a Talonflame, using Stealth Rocks in a way that it's a completely different battle system. So you're not just like setting something that'll happen consistently like an algorithm. You're setting up Stealth Rocks that your opponent now has to navigate in 3 dimensions. Like things like that, I do think are going to make it's going to make a big impact and affect how people enjoy this game. I hope for most fans, this is only going to enhance our experience. What I'm trying to do, Lumi, is like really just enjoy Legends ZA for what it is. I've been trying to do that more and more now that I keep seeing that these new Pokemon games are like, every one seems a little bit more experimental than the one that came before it, like for better or worse. Like even Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, not great games. They still offered something for me, and I think there's what I'm trying to say is like, I'm trying to enjoy the games for what they are, because I do think the mainline games will continue to be pretty consistent. Right.
I think so as well. And again, like, you know, we'll cross the way I'm approaching is like, I'll cross that bridge when we get there. If Gen 10
I'll make that rant video when I need to.
If Gen 10 is real-time battles, I'll have my argument on, I'll have my 30-minute YouTube rant up. But until then, I'm not going to rant about this one.
Stop.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not going to rant about this one because I also don't want, when Gen 10's announced, to have to put up a 30-minute apology video. So
sure. That's just more work all around.
Right. But on the subject of the battles changing, one thing, we don't know a lot about the plot of this game, but whereas in a Pokemon game, while there is a plot, one thing that you're doing as you're progressing through the games is you're progressing by like collecting gym badges, or in the case of Sun and Moon, island trials. And in this game, we know that one thing that will be going on is a new feature called the ZA Royale. And this game, this like feature, the goal is you're going to be starting at rank Z, and your goal is to work it all the way up to rank A. There's really a lot to talk about this. For one, it only takes place at night in your game, so I would assume that there's an internal clock system in your game, and it's not using real world time, similar to how Scarlet and Violet and Legends Arceus was. But also it's interesting because like it just shows how the game's vibe shifts completely when it's nighttime, and that is such a that's kind of neat too. Like I'll never forget that first trailer. I imagine you're trying to find it now, where like it
I'm trying to find it
where it like shifted. Oh, you know what? You're not going to be able to find it because it was on the Nintendo Direct, and it wasn't, the Pokemon Company didn't upload it. It was Nintendo uploaded it.
All right, let me look it up. I'll look it up.
But while you're looking up, I'll talk about one interesting thing about it is that they do say when you get to rank A, the winner gets to receive a wish at the end. And that's kind of strange, you know, like you're seeing these characters, the examples they showed in the trailer was like, oh, when I get to rank A, I want to ban all transportation except for taxis. So
yeah,
you know, I don't know what the extent of the wish is. Like I imagine it's like things that the city can do. Like you couldn't be like, you know, I want to bring back my, you know, dead loved one. I doubt it's like that, you know. I think it's more like I want a new coffee shop or something.
Yeah.
It's interesting that
it'll be limited
idea, right?
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. So that's actually kind of cool. So that would actually make that trial, right? The process of going through the trial of doing all those battles, that would make. I'm imagining there's a pool of rewards that you can basically, or wishes that you can fulfill every time you do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's, I don't know if it's maybe randomized every time, but you can kind of like just keep doing the battles in order to fill out that or fulfill whatever that content is. And some of that might be like implementing maybe a new thing in a park, right? Maybe like, and all those new things that you add to the different parks maybe attract different types of Pokemon, right? So there's almost like a gameplay loop there that I think could be really, really fun. It reminds me a little bit of Animal Crossing. It reminds me a little bit of like really just any sort of game, right? It's like you do the thing once to get a reward, which gives you more access to new Pokemon, which then allows you to make more competitive teams to do the loop more and more and more.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's
and some of the wishes might just be like, I hope I can find more shiny Pokemon. You know,
yeah.
I wish I could catch Pokemon a little
like
bit easier.
Shiny Charm or a Mark Charm or something. Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm very curious about that wish thing because they made a point to point it out. They made a point to show some examples of what some NPCs are wanting. And so I'm very curious how that will play a role in the game because like there's no shot that it can't play a role in the game. But these battles, man, like the vibe of them too are so different because like battles are a huge focus of the Pokemon franchise, right? But the ZA Royale is so strange because it almost feels, I don't know if you get this vibe, Dusty, but it's a vibe I get. It feels illegal, right?
What, battling?
No, the ZA Royale battles specifically. Like it's like
I don't know if
at
it feels
nighttime,
illegal.
like in the world. Of course,
I see what you're saying.
Like it's only at nighttime. One thing they talk about in the trailer is that like you can sneak up on your opponents and sneak attack them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It sounds like Fight Club, you know?
There's like this grimy vibe to like for me, I think what they're trying to do is illustrate like what happens at a city, right? It's bustling, it's pretty during the day, and at night things come alive, right? The city is alive at night. In real life, that is, you know, maybe certain beverages, that's live music, that is you know, restaurants, a lot of eating, you know, hustle and bustle, right? Sports games. In the Pokemon universe, you know, that's a Pokemon battle. So I get what you're saying. But I don't actually think it's going to be illegal. I know a lot of people are speculating that it's going to be like, a lot of people are saying that it's going to be like run by an evil team.
Sure.
And it could be. That could make sense. But I don't think it's going to be
sus to it, I feel like.
Yeah, no, you might be right. But it just might be the fact that it's all red.
Yeah, it might just be the vibe I'm getting. I just look like you're sneak attacking this poor woman. Her Ford is here. That doesn't feel. I'm pretty sure there are moments in the Pokemon anime where like Ash has been like, "That's not right. You have to agree to a battle first or something," you know.
Yeah,
but
to me, it feels like I think what it does is like it's a gameplay. It's like one extra gameplay element where like. You can have a little bit more fun with this. It kind of increases the skill ceiling. It's like, okay, sure, you can do traditional battles, but if you're really good and you're sneaky, right, you can get a bonus. It's like if you do this, if you focus on this additional, like, you know, gameplay style, you can get a bonus. You can get rewarded for this by having an advantage in battle. I think that's kind of what that is. But
it's also a risk too, because if you try to sneak up on an opponent and they catch you before you can successfully sneak up on them,
you're cooked.
You actually flinch, and basically they get a free moment to attack you.
Yeah.
So you know that's kind of a. It's like, do you just want to approach these battles like solidly, or do you want to try to gamble for that reward, even though it gives greater risk?
Yeah.
Yes. Anything else to add on ZA Royales?
We just don't know too much about the
Yeah.
Royales. I think there's a lot of speculation we could do, but we don't really know that much about the Royales yet.
It seems to be the like setting of how you'll progress through the game. Like how you know I'm close to finishing this game is you're at rank, E now.
So let's do characters real quick. So you got the
Yes.
main characters. You arrive in Lumio City. It says from sightseeing, and you'll make new friends, tackle all sorts of incidents in the city. It's kind of interesting. And these are your characters right there. We did talk about how they look like the professor. They look like the mother. They're pretty cool characters. This region, Kalos, is based on France, Paris, France. I think fashion and character customization would be a pretty safe bet. We don't have confirmation of that, but I think we will be able to, customize our characters quite a bit. Their clothing and stuff. We have a set of rivals.
Seen boutiques too in
that's true.
The mini map and in like some shots of trailers. We've not seen the character change clothes, but character customization has been consistently in every Pokemon game since Sun and Moon. So, I would be floored if it wasn't in the first game X and Y to introduce them a region where we return to that.
Sure.
It would that would be a pretty big miss.
It would be, there'd be some crazy outrage.
I mean, Paris is literally known as the fashion capital of the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're in Poke
Absolutely.
Paris. It's happening.
No, the only hesitation I have is that I think the implementation in Scarlet and Violet was so poor, where you were limited to color palettes and some of your clothes you just could not change, you could not alter. That was kind of frustrating. And I think also in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee there was a limitation on customization. BDSP had a limitation on customization. Yeah. So there's a couple hesitations, but
hopefully it's more confident. Like XY, Sun and Moon, Sword Shield, Legends Arceus.
That's the thing. Legends Arceus did character customization right. So I'm pretty hopeful.
Probably
I'm pretty hopeful.
My favorite game for character customization.
I think so too.
Honestly,
the vibes were just too good. So we also have a set of rivals: Urbane and Tawny. Urban and Towny. I think you could probably make the connection there. And these friends, they live and work at Hotel Z, supporting the owner, which is AZ. However, they may come on strong at times, but they like helping people in Pokemon. They're quite skilled at Pokemon battles too. The appearance you choose at the beginning of the game will determine whether Urbane or Tawny will appear. This is kind of interesting.
We've seen from the trailers, stitching shots together, you can see if you select the male character, you will get Tawny, the female rival. And if you select the female character, you will get Urbane, the male rival.
Yeah.
So they'll
which is kind of interesting. I don't think that has actually happened before. Usually, whatever character you pick, if you pick the male character,
Ruby
your
Sapphire,
rival will be the female character.
Yeah. It'll usually be, but it's never been exactly like this. Yeah.
A different set of rivals. If it's a standalone rival, it's just a standalone rival.
And they clearly are the same character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a gender swap version of it. They've got the hair going on, everything. They'll probably still. So it's, I don't know. It is really different, but they are effectively kind of like the protagonist. It's the same character. It's just
they look very similar. We could get pretty wacky with some theories, and then we have a lot of podcasts on the channel that do illustrate those. Those
I'm immediately
theories.
My mind's running now. Will if I select the male character, so I get Tawny. Will she mention she has a twin brother? So Urbane never appears, but I at least know they both exist in universe and they're not alternate realities,
They look kind of I don't know.
They could be twins.
Anyways, we can't spend too much time on this.
We can't.
We talked about AZ. We talked about AZ. He owns that hotel. There's also this woman who I think online has been kind of pegged or assumed as the villain.
I think people are
she gives villainous vibes. So Jet is the CEO of Quasartico Inc., which is the company that it feels kind of like a evil team. It's a large corporation driving Lumios's urban redevelopment plan with the aim of shaping the city into one that belongs to both people and Pokemon. It seems she hopes to deepen the bonds between Pokemon and people.
Something about her and Quasartico Inc. is that you see throughout the trailers, you'll see advanced technology, warp panels that let you warp up onto roofs. those are the result of Quasartico Inc. They've been like developing the city, and that's kind of so they're the reasons that's come from. And the interesting thing about that, our friend Lord Keeper Toby has pointed this out on one of our live streams, in fact, is that technology existed in the Team Flare base. And if you look on the map, Quasartico Inc. is right on top of where the Team Flare base was in X and Y. So I don't think that makes them evil, but I do think that means that'll be your connection to X and Y's Team Flare, is that like Quasartico, like, and maybe they are evil, but I think like the idea is like Quasartico ran in, took over the Team Flare base, and basically was like, we're going to make this technology good. Now, if there's a sinister motive behind it, maybe, I don't know, but I think that's like the public pitch, at least.
Definitely. We also have Vinny as another character who seems to be her secretary, Jet's secretary. Vinny is a large man who wears sunglasses, is his literal official description. He always seems busy and has a reputation for being a fast worker. This man's wearing sunglasses. He's got the man bun, and his elastic that's holding up the man bun has like little Pokemon plushies. You can see like a Pancham and a Bunnelby up in his hair, a Baneri. Yeah. And he's got the little Quasartico pin. He's wearing a suit. He's got a lot of green accents in his shoes, his shirt, and his gloves. He's got this funny looking facial hair, and a lot of people have said it looks very similar to Mega Rayquaza. A lot of theories say that he is going to like have a Mega Rayquaza or something, and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, he does have the
That's
green
like too
too,
powerful
as like another
of a Pokemon
connection, but I'm with you. I don't know. I'm actually instead I'm looking at the Baneri hair bin and going, he's gonna have a Mega Lopunny, like because he's also got Pancham, which is a fighting type, and when Lopunny Mega evolves, it does gain the fighting type. That's where my head's at, but we'll see. That. If this man whips out a Mega Rayquaza, then I'm like, great job, Game Freak. That was solid plot twist.
And then that's all the main characters that we know about. I want to hit the Mega Evolutions because I think it might be a nice segue into the leak section.
I agree. Yes.
But is there anything else we should cover?
That marks everything that I have on here. Like I said, just to reiterate, like, obviously this game is going to focus around Zygarde because Legends ZA, and we've seen him prominently in the trailers. But we actually don't know his role in this game. So
yeah, before we get too far, I do want to talk about Zygarde. I just think it's important to mention, right? This Pokemon debuted in Pokemon X and Y in Generation 6 on the 3DS. It was the kind of the peacekeeper between the two box art legendary Pokemon, right? We haven't seen those Pokemon in any of the promotional material, Xerneas and Evoltal. Very cool Pokemon, but we haven't seen them at all. And we've seen some instances of Zygarde, some versions of Zygarde. Something else that didn't really exist in X and Y. This was implemented in the anime, as well as Pokemon Sun and Moon, is that Zygarde has many different forms. There's basically Zygarde cores, which is like the brain, the nucleus. I don't know what you want to think about it. But you have the Zygarde core, which collects Zygarde cells. This has been worked into gameplay. It's been worked into some of the anime plot.
We've even seen a core on the box art for the game, like the extended box art. And then we saw a cell in the trailer they gave us on Pokemon Day 2025. There was a cell on the rooftops. Yeah. And it feels like it feels like Game Freak's kind of teasing us a little bit, It feels like they're not trying to show us the whole picture. And I honestly have no idea what I don't even know if there's leaks for what Zygarde really would, how involved Zygarde really will be in this game. I think we're all assuming Zygarde is going to be in this game because, when X and Y came out, we were all expecting Pokemon Z to follow Pokemon X and Pokemon Y as a game. That never happened. Then we got Zygarde as the third legendary being featured in Sun and Moon. And then we finally return to the Kalos region, and the game is called Legends Z, Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing that the ZA is attached, or actually kind of a callback to the battle system, that battle tournament. So it makes me think, like, is Zygarde actually going to be part of this game? Zygarde's not even in the box art. It's in the art
cut off from
that is featured on the box art, but Zygarde is actually not in the box art.
Yeah.
Like when you pick up a copy of Legend ZA, you're not going to see Zygarde. So they've shown. So all right, Zygarde has the core form, which is not playable, but every Zygarde is a core or has a core. It collects cells, and the playable forms that you can get of Zygarde in the game is its 10% form, which kind of resembles a Greyhound or some sort of maybe like a Doberman type dog. There's a 50% Zygarde form, which is what was originally in Pokemon X and Y. This thing depicts or is reminiscent of like a snake, a basilisk, just a really large snake dragon, right? This and Zygarde is dragon and ground type, so that's kind of cool. And then its complete form, which again we never saw this until Sun and Moon, but this thing is a behemoth. This thing is like a Gundam, a giant space creature, right? It looks like a man. It's a man. It looks like a man, and it also has these like snake-like tentacles that kind of shoot out from its neck, and they look like snake heads. This Pokemon is really interesting. It's got a lot of like lore behind it, but it also is something that we haven't actually been able to like interact with in like as far as a Pokemon story goes, right? Like we've seen it in various different mediums. You can play with it, or you can capture it in Sun and Moon. You can capture it in I have memories capturing it in the Dynamax Adventures in Sword and Shield, which is really cool because when you fight it, it's like this. It's a
it
Dynamax Pokemon.
Into the complete form
it's complete form, and it's massive, so it's really cool to fight that thing, but we've never seen like a real like story.
No, the closest thing we've gotten is like Sun and Moon. It's not really a story as much as it is like, hey, here's a box, throw Zygardes in them when you see it,
Yeah. So I'm really like going into Legends ZA, I'm really curious to see if they're going to, actually flesh out Zygarde's story.
I think
we had a lot of theories over the last year and a half, of the idea of like, maybe a Zygarde is like your companion, and like as you go on your adventure, maybe as you collect the cells, like it grows to be a 10% form, a 50% form, maybe finally a complete form. Maybe Zygarde is the end boss. Maybe like you're disrupting the environment with all these battles and all this mega evolution, right? Maybe you're disrupting Lumio City and Zygarde erupts as an antagonist to the player. There's a lot of ways that this could go. And I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up before we got too far into this.
Yeah.
I think Zygarde's really, really cool.
Yeah. And I think we definitely can expect him to be here. Like I said, they've kind of had him in a lot of promotion material, like in trailers. You'll see snippets of Zygarde. Even like the logo and like the design of like the official website and anything they do ZA will have like little like cell shapes on it. And that makes me think back to like how Scarlet and Violet's DLC had a lot of hexagon shapes. And then of course it culminates with Terapagos, so I think since they're doing like clear nods to it and the theming, he's going to be there. Absolutely. Prominently.
Yeah. And all right, let's move on now. So this is not a spoiler. Yeah. This is all of the mega evolutions that we know will be returning in Pokemon Legends ZA. This resource is right on our Twitter page. We also on our Instagram, Hidden Power Pod. But this is every mega that's returning. We have both Mega Charizards, Mega Charizard X, Mega Charizard Y. We have Mega Pidgeot, Mega Kangaskhan, Pinsir, Gyarados, Aerodactyl, Ampharos,
Steelix, Heracross,
yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Houndoom, Tyranitar, Gardevoir, Sableye, Altaria, Alakazam, Absol, Salamence, Lucario, and Gallade. We also did get Scizor confirmed on the box art.
Yeah, that's so true. We should probably update that.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe I want to actually show that right here. There was some really, really cool art that came out depicting. That's so true. Scizor is right there on the box art.
Mm-hmm.
But we had some really cool art that came out. This is all official art depicting these mega evolutions. And it's really cool to see how like dynamic the art is. So these are we do have these on our Twitter page if you want to check these out.
And I think it's important to note too that some of these Pokemon like Lucario, Ampharos, and Absol here, they all were mega evolutions that were introduced in X and Y, so in the Kalos region. Altaria and Sableye, which are ones confirmed for ZA, were actually not seen until Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So I do think it's just nice to kind of have the hard confirmation. I'm not surprised by it, but it's nice to have the hard confirmation that you'll be seeing, at least
megas that debuted outside of the Kalos region.
Yeah, like,
absolutely.
You're not going to catch an Altaria and not be able to mega evolve it. If the Pokemon's in the game and it has a mega, you're going to be able to use the mega,
Do we know this yet? Do we know if mega stones are going to be part of this, or if a lot of these Pokemon are just going to be like, because
we know
there have been some new Pokemon games. Yeah, but like in Legends Arceus, there's no held items.
You mean like
in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee? There's no held items.
But with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, while there were no held items, you still had to like collect the Mega Stone.
Yeah. Okay. So you had to. Okay.
So
what I'm saying is like the held item, though.
Yeah. We don't know. I honestly am leaning.
I'm leaning towards you still have to get the stone.
I think you have to get the stone, but I don't think there will be like a held item. Like I don't think I have to attach it to my Lucario. I think about how in Legends Arceus, Arceus has those plates that change its forms when it holds them, and you just had to get the plates, and they basically function like key items to change your Arceus's form, similar to like Rotom, instead of being an item Arceus holds to change its forms. I would imagine it works like that, but who knows?
Yeah. And listen, this is some old beef. I just want to squash it right now. Mega Charizard Y looks really good right here.
It does. It looks so
like
good.
This is the only official depiction of Mega Charizard Y that looks cool. His legs are long. He looks agile. He's ferocious. His tail is like jagged. I really do like it.
I love Mega Charizard Y so much, man. One of, if not my favorite Mega Evolution. So
I'm stoked Sableye got anything. Look at
he's getting a lot of love too, man. He's pretty prominently featured here. The anime's got a character with Mega Sableye. Like he's getting some good focus.
Listen, I've been streaming more on my own channel, DustyGogoat, and I went through every single Pokemon to find out my top 10. Sableye was number 1.
Wow, over Sizzle.
It's official.
Wow,
it's official.
I love that for you, though. That's like it's such official. I feel like you're not. It's a very cute mon. I feel like it doesn't get a lot of love, so it's cool to see it be your number 1. But on this note, I think this is a great segue into if you're ready to go.
Of course,
the Pokemon leaks. So. Guys,
fair warning right here. Maybe we'll put like a little advertisement right here.
Sure.
Maybe we'll thank our
our sponsors or something.
We'll put a little advertisement
will be
right here.
And when we come back from this ad, it'll be spoilers. Okay. Everyone shut up. We have a summer sale.
And it's right here at shop.hiddenpowerpodcast.com. Some of you might know we rebranded. Not only did we rebrand all of our visual assets, and our podcast art, yada, yada, yada. That's a Seinfeld reference. But we also relaunched our merch store, and to celebrate, we have over 50 items on this store that are eligible for our summer sale. That's 15% off all eligible items. But also, just go check, link in the description. Just go, do me a favor. Go into the description, click the button, check out the store, because right now on the screen is what you're looking at. This store just looks gorgeous. Our buddy, our designer, our teammate, Noivi, not only did he take a bunch of sick merch store shots for the store, but he also redesigned the whole thing. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And like I said,
him in the
over 50 items.
First picture.
Yeah, that's him in the first picture. Over 50 items on this store have are discounted for the summer. So anyways, just want to let you know, just want to pop in here right now. Lumi did say something kind of rude earlier. You don't need to shut up.
Look, I'm just wondering why you're still here and you're not at that site looking at this beautiful merch.
If you if you guys want to support us, right? And you want to get some swag, right? Some dope looking clothes for the summer, some easy breezy colorways for the summer. We got it all right here. Shop.hiddenpowerpodcast.com. Links in the description. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Go
now. All right. We've got... All right. This is going to be all the leaks for Pokemon Legends ZA. This is everything we know. Well, maybe not everything, because I think we actually...
We'll avoid...
I actually don't want to know story spoilers.
Yeah, I did mean to ask you. I suppose we can have this conversation on here. There's some stuff that, like, it's not like a story spoiler. Like, it won't tell you the story of the game, but it's like, this actually is not an example. But say if they said Ash Ketchum is in the game. Like, you know, so it's not a story.
I don't care.
Okay, so we'll do...
I don't want to know, like, the order. Like, I don't actually want to know the beats of a story of the game, because, like, that's... Okay. Or like where we're going to go in the game. I do want to know, listen, we run a Pokemon podcast. I'm online for Pokemon leaks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to know the Pokemon. I want to know the new forms.
Yeah, I avoid...
It's all good.
What I have listed on my little document here to mention is the new Pokemon / forms, the confirmed stuff around returning past forms, past megas, an interesting tidbit about the future of Pokemon Legends EA, and then I do have like a list of characters that are confirmed to be in this game, but not plot beats with them.
Well, let's get into it. Listen,
you've
been warned.
Oh yeah,
you've been warned. Yeah, are you sure you want? And by the way, this is the Pokeeos website, pokeeos.com.
Yeah, Maki and J Rose just run it. Great people.
Friends of the podcast. All
Soul is closer to them right now than he is us geographically.
That's true. Yeah, he's in Italy. All right, here it is.
Boom.
No BS. Here are all of the new Pokemon, all the new Mega Evolutions that we're going to receive in this game. We have done full deep dives if you're looking for like opinions on these Pokemon. But let's talk about these.
Mm-hmm.
Mega Clefable.
Yep.
Oh, actually, is there they used to have like depictions of what these Pokemon are going to look like.
Yes, I think if you scroll down, you're seeing the ones that we do know.
I think I'm actually going to, you can keep, tell me what you think about Clefable. Maybe talk about it. I actually have some art that I can pull up by some fan artists to kind of better depict what the Pokemon will actually look like.
Yeah, well, Clefable's actually, sometimes with a Mega Evolution, you actually see them change type. Sometimes they stay the same, like Blastoise goes from Pure Water to Pure Water. Sometimes they lose a type, like Aggron goes from Steel Rock to Pure Steel. And sometimes they switch around their types, like Charizard goes Fire Flying to Fire Dragon when it Mega evolves into Mega Charizard X. Clefable is actually an example of a Pokemon that will be changing type as it evolves. It goes from Pure Fairy to Fairy Flying, which is a pretty small number of Fairy Flyings. It's I think the only ones are Enamorus and Togekiss. So
it's actually kind of great.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. You know, it's got those wings, so that kind of typing can kind of maybe tell you the design direction that this thing's probably gonna go. But yeah. Here is what, okay, so to kind of explain what we're looking at and why we're even showing you it. So basically the people who have seen these things, which comes from a Terra leak, we've covered it extensively. If you're new to the show, I don't expect you to know it. If you've been watching us for a while and you'll know what the Terra leak is, what are you doing, bro? But the Terra leak was this big hack that happened on Game Freak, and basically from that information is trickled out and images trickled out, not publicly, but like around a few, people,
some back alleys,
and so
and then descriptions of those images get reinterpreted like a game of telephone, and eventually the general public, and people who are looking for it, and really talented Fakemon artists like what we're looking at right now, people, just artists in the community,
right? Like
in the Pokemon. This is Hitalo Duarte.
It's literally, and maybe one day on a live we can illustrate this. Maybe one day, like, we should do this because, like, basically someone saw something. So imagine I saw Pikachu and I just tell Dusty, I saw a yellow thing, had a lightning tail and red cheeks. And now it's Dusty's job to draw not Pikachu, but what I told Dusty this thing that I saw looks like.
And I'm drawing a dog all of a sudden.
Right, yeah. So,
and then I tell it to someone else who then goes, like, reinterprets it as like a bird, and then all of a sudden, and then someone actually puts pen to paper, draws it. So basically,
I imagine some of these actually might be like spot on, but then there's probably like some of these where when you see the final design, you're going to be like, that doesn't look anything like this, you know?
Yeah. All right, so let's start with the starter Pokemon. We got a Mega Meganium, and that's right, guys. That's right. For those who want to know, the starter Pokemon of ZA are going to get Mega Evolution.
Right. So no Colosseum for Alligator, no Colosseum Meganium, no Colosseum Emboar, regular for Alligator, Meganium, and Emboar, but they are going to Mega Evolve.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to get to this quick because there are a lot here. Mm-hmm. And what is the number? Is this 20? What was the final number? 26,
the final number is 26. We can kind of get into it after we go over the confirmed ones, but there's a 27th that's up in the air.
All right, so Mega Meganium gets a lot more flowers on its neck. Its antennae get a little bit longer. I think its legs kind of flare out. It's just a prettier prettier Meganium, and I think the flare out on the legs that kind of reminds me of the flared legs on the flared jeans that the female character wears, the main character in ZA. So that's kind of a nice little tie-in right there. Mm-hmm. Mega for Alligator. Basically, all we know is that its head, it gets this like additional red skull on its head.
It's like skin peeling, I think. It's like basically
like a lizard or whatever.
Because reptiles do that, and it also
it's horn or it's like its spikes get a lot bigger as well.
Also, Meganium gains the fairy typing, and
that's huge.
For Alligator gains the dragon typing.
Big man, and what type? Does Emboar get a new type?
No, it stays firefighting. So it's grass fairy, water dragon, firefighting.
Yeah, you can see Emboar right here. It's it just kind of gets this like head crest. It gets the fires kind of go further up on its back, and then
and it gets a fire spear.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I'm realizing right now as I describe these these visual interpretations of the other descriptions, I'm like continuing the game of telephone.
Yeah.
Right
now someone's gonna be like, someone's listening on Spotify and is like, oh well, I'll draw that thing, you know. Someone do that if you're listening on Spotify and you like to draw, do that and show us what it looked like.
yeah. That's pretty funny. Scrafty is another like lizard type inspired Pokemon, and its whole thing is that it has like this like loose shedded skin. So in its Mega Evolution, its shedded skin turns completely white, and it's like peeling off of its body completely. And I think this is kind of nice. This is cool.
Yeah, I think so too. By the way, just I think these are great, but just so you're aware, there are some missing on this one. So these aren't all the confirmed megas, but this is great because I think these are really good interpretations of them.
I think so as well. Starmie, the big joke is that Starmie gets long legs, so like we don't know what it's gonna look like. It could look like one of those starfish that like having like all of its legs are spindly.
We actually do know what it looks like. They're a model of it leaked shortly after. It's right here. I don't think we can we show it? Well, this is
no, I'm not showing the model, but
this is it. This is what the model looks like. It's just those
so Starmie just long. Yep.
So sorry,
and then
God.
yeah. I think it's not so bad.
Do you think God stays in heaven because he too fears what he has created?
So Chandelure is a fire ghost type, and it's a chandelier, and it just gets more ornate.
It gets another tier.
Yeah. It just gets more chandelier arms or whatever. Also the Kalos starters get Mega Evolutions, which I kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Chestnut, I guess I don't know what the exact interpretation, but it looks like it gets kind of more of a cape and then more spikes and a crown. Greninja turns black, which kind of like is a callback to its like shiny form, and everyone's going crazy about this, but it's got a giant shuriken, and it because it's a frog and it's a ninja, it hangs from the bottom of the giant shuriken. Which could be awesome or could be hilarious and stupid. Yeah.
We'll see.
We will see. That's gonna be fun to like react to.
Yeah.
Delphox basically, it really leans into that witch aesthetic where it's standing or sitting on a broomstick. It's like magic wand is now like a broomstick, and it's got a couple more like magically fiery wands that like kind of shoot out fire beams, which is kind of cool. I like that. That might actually make me like Delphox quite a bit.
It sounds honestly Delphox sounds like the winner of these three to me.
It really does. Yeah, it's cool. Victory Bell is also going to get a Mega Evolution, and it's what is it? Grass Poison type.
Still grass poison.
And it just kind of like the description I think was like that it's a vine wraps around its neck and then its body gets huge.
Yeah, it's like a pouch when you like tie a pouch together. You know, it's supposed to be like that, and so the bottom's really bulging because like it's about to explode because they've tied off the air, and that's how bags work. But
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, that's another one that I'm like I could see it going either way.
Yeah. Halucha gets like some new colors on its mask. I think it's like it's like its head turns like black and gold. This is cool. This feels like a natural Mega Evolution for Halucha, just like a new power up as a character, as a lucha wrestler or a luchador. And then Glalie gets a Mega Evolution, and now its counterpart Frostlass is also going to get a Mega Evolution.
Well deserved.
The art here is cool. I don't know if this is actually accurate.
This is pretty accurate to what was described. I mean, based off the description that we read, I feel this is accurate. Again, we might see the final design be like,
Yeah.
But it's supposed to like get like ice oni horns and have this long flowy kimono and long hair.
That's pretty nice.
It sounds like it's going to be like a pretty cool Mega, honestly. That's some of the descriptions I'm like, meh. Frostlass and also Halucha are actually ones that I'm like, oh, I'm ready for that,
For sure, man. And then to go back to the beginning, Mega Clefable gets the flying type, which is really cool. I think that is nice.
Yeah.
Clefable, they've always had wings. They're, supposed to be like
Pixies.
Little alien moon Pokemon. So to think that they get the flying type so they can not only fly like fairies fly, right? But also it kind of makes me think, okay, this thing can like defy gravity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is okay. I can't not think of Wicked.
I was about to say that I'm like
I said it and I was like
Wicked vibes from you today.
Okay.
You did. You said divine gravity and I just heard it's me.
It's me. All right. Skarmory is getting a Mega Evolution. This is huge, and it's gonna be gold plated with green feathers. It's gonna get a lot sharper, more pointy. Some of these megas, again, because we're working off of a game of telephone.
Yeah.
And there's room for some misinterpretation.
Absolutely.
Some of these megas seem like they were described based on the original Pokemon's shiny form. Like shiny Skarmory is gold and green. So to think that its Mega turns gold and green, that's possible, but it also makes me think, okay, were they looking at a shiny variant?
Yeah. Now Skarmory is actually one that, without spoiling anything, it shows up in the main story. So I don't think they would have been able to misinterpret it.
Okay.
But
that's cool. I didn't even know that. That felt like a little nugget. I didn't even know that. That makes me kind of excited.
But it does, I think we're looking at an issue of interpretation. Like, honestly, it could not be gold at all, and like its headpiece is gold, and they just went Skarmory becomes gold. You know what I mean? Like, because a part of it does. Like, I don't know. I think it's the telephone game effect, or maybe because that is a pretty cool shiny, they decided to reference it in its Mega, kind of like how Mega Charizard X becomes black, which is like the iconic Charizard shiny.
I'll jump ahead here because it's related, but like Mega Scolipede is gonna be that's gonna be a real thing. Scolipede is getting a Mega Bug Poison. I kind of wish they gave it like, imagine if it Mega evolved to get like Bug Dragon or something. That would be kind of cool. But its color scheme basically just swaps to its shiny form. So that just makes me think it's just a shiny Scolipede. But you might be right.
From what I've heard,
and then we have Drampa as well.
All the megas throughout the story, like the new megas will all appear in the story.
That's cool. That's cool.
So that's why I'm like, I don't think they're interpreting it as the shiny, because the idea is if someone's mega evolving a Scolipede, I would tell, oh, that Scolipede's shiny, and then they mega evolve it, and I know that's shiny Mega Scolipede. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I'm assuming it really is like the legit thing, but again, telephone game.
Yeah. Drampa, normal dragon type. It gets a mega. It looks a little bit angrier. It's like white clouds turn into like storm clouds. Kind of gets a little gray. It's got a longer mustache. It's got some purple accents. Nothing crazy. Phalanx, which is a goofball from Galar. Basically, they all just team up on each other, and you get this little. They kind of one of them gets a shield. One of their horns turns into a sword, and it's kind of this little Spartan. This little Spartan, this roly-poly
They Voltron,
Spartan.
man. They just
exactly.
A giant man.
And your boy Dragonite gets a mega. So cool. The description says that it's going to get a little blue orb like Dragonair on its tail. It's going to get wings on its hands. It's the bigger wings on its head, wings on its feet. There's some new coloration. The art here, I love it. It just makes the standard Dragonite wings a little bit longer. Such a that's going to be a great Pokemon overall. I'm excited for that.
This is obviously the one I'm most looking forward to. I will say too, like, I'm excited to see these with like, now we see that Mega Evolutions in the game have like this rainbow hue to them. And so I'm excited to see, that effect. But yeah, guys, go check out this guy, because I think he crushed it. Those are some of my favorite. Some of those are my favorite.
Oh yeah, so
interpretations of, because a lot of artists have done their take on it, and some of those that we just looked at are my favorite of those Pokemon.
Yeah. Hey, Hitalo Duarte. It's right here on the screen right now. If you want to go follow them, I just followed them.
Yeah. We do have more leaked megas, though. We may not have interpretations of them, but there are a few more, especially from the Kalos region. But on here, like, one thing we missed was Excadrill is getting a Mega Evolution. It's kind of been described as like having like some orange plating and kind of becoming a bit like the drill parts get a bit more involved, I guess.
Reinforced.
Like it's more drill,
That's cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the whole Excadrill's whole thing is that it'll kind of like coil up into a ball to create a giant drill.
Yeah.
With its hands and its head. So it'll just be a bigger drill. Electros is here as well.
I'm not even going to attempt to like tell you what
the description made no sense.
The description for Electros was like, I think they were trying too hard to describe it, and so it's like they like overloads my brain every time I read it. So
I had a real life aneurysm when we were live streaming our reactions to these megas for the first time.
Right.
That is over on the YouTube channel on the live tab, our full breakdown.
Yeah.
What else did I miss here?
Pyroar.
Oh, Pyroar. Very cool. It seems like its mega is just going to be like more fire, more main.
More main.
I
they
guess
say it's like
sense.
The same main on top of its already main.
Sure.
It was kind of compared to Swordward and Shieldbert from the post game of Sword and Shield, which were these guys with some pretty dumb hairdos.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
So I'm expecting, but the interesting thing with Pyroar is that, we were talking about how maybe they saw a shiny. It sounds to me like they saw a male Pyroar's Mega Evolution. I wonder if the female Pyroar would have, because it differs from male Pyroar. I wonder if it would have its own Mega Evolution that looks differently, and if they're encountering these throughout the story, and so they only saw a male Pyroar Mega Evolve. There might be a mega female Pyroar that's out there. Wow. It exists, and we just haven't seen it yet because the person who basically leaked these descriptions never saw it.
Yeah, dude, I can totally see that. That's so true. That's a really good point. Malamar is also here. What's the description of this? That it flips upside down?
No, it gets really, really skinny. And in fact, the joke was that it takes Ozempic, and then it becomes rainbow on its like body.
Crazy. Just kind of like this like iridescent color.
Yeah, like squids are like that, like in real life. Yeah. So it becomes more squiddy, I think.
We're also gonna get a Mega Dragalge. That's a dragon poison type. I know I'm like kind of spotty with these types right here.
Yeah, you're on it. Dragon poison. And it gets it's like been described to get like a bit more flowy.
Sure.
And like I think
probably
it has
just more
like
algae
antlers with like orbs in them or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You've seen that algae that has like little like air pockets,
little like
in it.
Beads on them.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. That's cool. There's also Mega Barbaracle is going to be a thing. This one's getting a new type as well.
Yep.
So originally it's water rock type. I think, what is it now? Fighting rock?
Rock fighting, yep. And
rock fighting?
I could be wrong. I feel like it's the first ever rock fighting type.
I think Terrakion.
You're right. Terrakion is, yeah.
And that thing was a menace competitively. So maybe Barbaracle will have a little. This will be Wolfglick's next ace, I think. That's my prediction.
Mark my word. 2026, Wolfglick will win the world championship.
How I beat
with a Mega Barbaracle.
Yeah, the video title. Yeah, the story of how I got became the world champion using this ugly barnacle.
By the way, Wolf, if you're listening and we got that right, come on the show. We deserve it at that point, right?
Yeah, we want to do an exclusive interview. Right. So I was kind of teasing earlier, but not really. Mega Eternal Flower Floette. That's awesome. I was like kind of teasing. I just want to like use it in battle. I'm kind of fearful it might become one of those Pokemon that like you can only battle and you can't capture, like a Gigantamax. Or I guess it's Eternamax, Eternatus, or like the Fusion Nihilego with Lusamine. Like, I'm kind of fearful that this Pokemon might become one of those.
Well, I suppose that I can let you know that it has been confirmed that you will be able to obtain an Eternal Flower Floette in this game.
Yes! Awesome! That's so good.
Now for the record, no hard confirmation you can get the Mega. But I would think you can.
But you can
get Eternal Flower Floette, so...
Yeah. So what does this Mega look like?
It's been described as like, so you know how Floette is holding on to that flower? It's been described as its tail curls up and becomes the stem of the flower. So it becomes one with the flower.
That's cool.
And its flower has always kind of been similar to the ultimate weapon. So I think the idea now is it's going to like be able to use its tail as a cannon. Kind of like Iron Bundle, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. That almost makes me think the Mega won't be usable after you obtain the Eternal Flower Floette. It makes me kind of think that, like, I mean, already that sounds plot related.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it is going to be plot related. I don't know.
Like, that's a little unfair for Pokemon battles to be able to nuke your opponent. Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, it's similar to the ultimate weapon, but it isn't necessarily like the way I interpret it is like AZ designed the ultimate weapon after his friend.
Sure.
So, but on that point, you also see that Zygarde is here. Zygarde is getting.
I actually have this right here. Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Here's an art description or an art render of Mega. Floette. That's pretty good.
Shout out to Eden.
Shout out to Eden. And then this one's so sick. Yeah, that's great. But first, I gotta tell you guys about our classic, our best selling merch collection, Hidden Legacy. This is a beautiful design by our in-house guy, Noivi, aka Anthony. This man is a legend, but he whipped up this gorgeous design for us. It comes in a variety of colors, and on the back of the shirt, this design encapsulates all sorts of inside jokes, and I guess not even jokes. They're not jokes, but they're just they're things that are, I guess, what's the word? An ode to, right? In legacy to, or in respect of. Come on, guys, help me out.
They're all I'm drowning things over that here. Are important to us. I mean, just look at it. You've got Mons that we hold dear, right? You've got Soul's Ultra Necrozma. You have my Dragonite. You have Dusty's Cherubi even on there.
Bro, we need a solo Cherubi shirt. I gotta talk to Noivi about that. Honestly, I kind of forgot about this, but you got the Pokemon Snap camera up top. That's a classic Hidden Power moment right there. And at this point in time, both Soul and I have played a little bit of Pokemon Snap. So this is kind of a retro design at this point. Being a thing. But anyways, this, like I said, this last summer, we had this created to really just kind of like capture not only the legacy of the show, but also just a lot of the designs, but also the colors that we chose were really in service to or meant to remind. They're in the spirit of the summer, right? To me, it reminded me of when we designed this. I was in Maine. I was on the coast, right? I'm living it up. Summer nights, I'm living it up. with the sea breeze in the air, right? Sand in my toes, right? What's that old song? Sand in the my bum's in the in the sand, toes in the sand,
toes in the water, bum in the sand.
Oh yeah. You know well, who sings that?
Is that
Jimmy Buffett?
It sounds like a Jimmy Buffett song.
I don't think that's Jimmy Buffett. No.
No, who is it? Anyways, whatever. It was a gorgeous summer.
Band?
Yes, the Zach Brown band. And listen, summer's upon us, and I'm so excited to get back into the vibes of the summer. I'm really excited here on the East Coast to enjoy the summer, and I hope you are too. If you guys want to support the show, if you want something more tangible than just a Patreon membership, if you want something more tangible than just some extra episodes every single month, you can go to shop.hiddenpowerpodcast.com. Links are in the description to go to this website, and you can get yourself some new Hidden Legacy merch. We have the shirts. It also comes in a sweatshirt. We should make a ball cap. I don't think we've made a ball cap of this design yet, but we also have a stainless steel bottles available. And yeah, I just love this whole collection so much. There is, of course, so many other designs on the store, so feel free to browse around and get something for yourself, get something for your spouse, or I guess you could say significant other if you're younger than 30. And thank you guys so much. And let's get back to the show.
Yeah, Rye the Drawer, shout out to you. That's a pretty good example of what the description seems to describe for Mega Zygarde. It's very similar to the complete form, just kind of peeled, they say.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's more green, complete Zygarde, more green. The snake heads are still there, but the most glaring thing is that Zygarde is wielding something that looks like the ultimate weapon, and this artist has basically taken the pattern of the pattern that is in the A section of the Legend ZA logo, the little like growth plant pattern that exists in that logo, and has applied it to that section of this Mega Zygarde. I think some of this is interpretation. But to me, it's definitely. Like it almost looks like a fusion between Mega Zygarde and Eternal Flower Floette, or it's the flower of Eternal Flower Floette. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, something about this is that it was straight up said that Mega Zygarde is holding a story spoiler. Like literally, I'm not censoring myself. I'm saying the person who wrote the description said it's holding a story spoiler, so I'm not going to say what it is what the person said. Yeah.
And do we know that?
That's what the person who gave us all these descriptions said, yeah. But I'm going to be real, Dusty, you were just talking about megas that we may not get access to. I think this is nothing based in leaks, but I think this one might be it, because for one, it's holding a story spoiler, and if it's like a plot device it's holding, that'll seem a little weird for me in Gen 12. I bring in my Zygarde, I Mega Evolve it, and he's just like, I got this thing from the Kalos region, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
And not only that, but you do have to think of some of these things from a competitive standpoint. Mega Evolutions typically do add 100 across the board somehow to your base stat total, and it is 708 as its base stat total, which is pretty high because, like, in comparison, you have Mega Mewtwo. Its stats are, let me jump to, I'm in the wrong generation.
Wow, dude. So Zygarde has 708 base stat total. If it had, it would
be the highest of all time, other than Eternamax.
800. Yeah, and Eternamax Eternatus is unavailable.
Yeah, exactly. Like
for play.
For context, Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y and Mega Rayquaza all currently share the record for highest base stat total, and they are all 780 is the total. If this is something you can get access to, Zygarde's going to beat them out, which is kind of wild. And again, wow. When you combine that with the fact that it's apparently holding a story spoiler in its design, I just kind of doubt that we will be able to get access to this. I could see us getting to use it, like say maybe we in the final battle we fight whatever with Mega Zygarde, but like I just don't know that this will be like a Mega we can get from here on out.
Yeah, and honestly, I've always felt like complete form Zygarde feels like it already is a Mega form, you know?
Yes.
Like Mega Evolution is a concept, but there's always been some other versions of this power up, like Primal Evolution, Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre, Mega Rayquaza kind of does it a little bit differently.
Even Ultra Necrozma like feels like an answer to it, you know?
Yeah. So we have complete form Zygarde, where base Zygarde's already getting such a big power up. Dude, I actually did not know this at all. Eternatus has a base stat total of 1,125. I didn't even realize 800 had been breached. That's insane.
Yeah. But
that
again,
is absolutely
the
insane.
important thing to take away is that you can't actually use that, you know?
Yeah.
The highest you can use is 780.
A little bit of glimmer of hope. If complete form Zygarde does get a Mega and it goes up to 808 as its base stat total, it will be the strongest Pokemon ever, but it's really not that far off from Mega Mewtwo X or Mega Mewtwo Y. It's not that far off.
It's not that. No, it's 28 above it.
I mean, that's like they could do it. Like when they introduced Mega, literally like Primal Kyogre and Groudon are up there as well, you know? Like they could do it. I don't think it'd be
they could do it. I just with that combined with the plot thing, like that is apparently holding a plot device. That's what makes me, because like, I don't know. The flip side is imagine, I doubt it's this because that was so big, but imagine it's holding the ultimate weapon and wielding the ultimate weapon. That's 2,000. That's fine in Legends ZA, but like, you know, if we're able to play around with it in Pokemon Champions, it seems weird that anytime I like Mega Evolve my Pokemon, it suddenly just has the ultimate weapon. Like it Mega Evolves to have that. Like it makes sense from a story perspective that Mega Evolves, grabs the ultimate weapon, starts using it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know. I still can't understand how like Farfetch'd gets its leak every time it battles. That's still bizarre to me. So I hear what you're saying.
Sure. This one feels so much more specific though. Like,
no,
like just,
I know what you're saying.
If he's wielding Lumiose Tower, well, Lumiose Tower now exists in every game that has Mega.
Sure.
In Pokemon Champions, I can like beat my opponent to death with the Lumiose Tower, you know?
I'm trying to think of an example to like rebuttal, but I guess you make a good point.
And I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. You know, I'd like for all forms to be accessible, but you know, I'm skeptical.
Totally. But so what else do we have? Oh no, and there's one thing left.
So there's Mega Zeraora, and where this is coming from is a couple places actually. So first, when people were starting to report on these leaked new Megas, two numbers were given out. Some people were saying it was 32 new Megas, and some were saying 26. We've now landed on 26, but some believe that there could be 6 that maybe weren't finished from this build, or maybe it's 6 that are planned for DLC. But among those 6, people are convinced one of them is Zeraora because when discussing with the Pokemon Horizons, which is the anime, and don't worry, no spoilers for Horizons. Yeah. But you know, I'll be talking about everything that is up to right now, and even the English dub. In Pokemon Horizons, you know that they've been going around and like collecting these hero Pokemon, and basically there is meetings between Game Freak and the staff of Pokemon Horizons where Game Freak is kind of talking to them about, hey, if you do this, do that. If you do this, you know, like making sure they coincide, right? And so one thing that they told the staff is that at one point, the staff of Horizons had planned for Zeraora to be one of the heroes. That's no longer the case. But they told them, when you do Zeraora, make sure you like debut the Mega at the same time we do. So at some point, a Mega Zeraora was planned. Now, was it scrapped completely, or is it being saved for later? Because now the current Horizons anime arc in Japan is called Mega Voltage, which is kind of that's a great name for a Zeraora arc, you know?
It really is. It really is. We'll see. We'll have to see. So this is, again, if this is everything that we know about ZA, we don't know about this one.
We don't, but we know it did exist at one point. So it's just a question of scrapped or shelved, you know? Because that's a like kind of a good segue into another leaked thing is that at one point they did plan for Legends EA DLC to release. No clue if they will still do it, but originally Legends EA was supposed to release in November of 2024, and we were supposed to get Legends EA DLC in June 2025. This month we were supposed to pretty soon, if not now, we'll be playing Legends EA DLC on the original timeline. Now,
holy cow, man.
Since Legends EA has been pushed to October, and obviously next year is the 30th anniversary, they're probably going to debut a new generation, want to hype up that. It's a question of would they want to air this DLC, or has ZA been pushed so far back that they just go, we ain't got the time, let's focus on Gen 10,
I can almost see,
And that could be where Zera Aura and these other potential 5 other megas would appear.
But here's the thing, it's like, if the DLC is paid, that's a different thing. But if it's a free update, like we saw with the other Legends game, Legends Arceus, I think it makes sense that, like, if you buy a game in October, sure, they're going to announce Generation 10 on Pokemon Day in February 2026, a couple months later. But you still have to wait the entire year to play that game. So it would still do a lot. There's a lot of time. There's a big gap to fill in terms of, like, keeping the fan base hungry. You know, it's a 4-year gap between Scarlet and Violet in this Generation 10 title.
But it's like, since it's the 30th anniversary, do they have other things in place to do that? Like, Dusty, I mean, take your shot or whatever of apple juice, of course, but Pokemon ports,
Wonderful. Okay.
Releasing a collection. And maybe both. I would like both. For the record, for what it's worth, on the day they announced Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they also released a free DLC for Legends Arceus. And that's something else too, is we don't know the scope of this DLC. This could be hypothetically the same scope as the DLC we got for Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield, or it could be a really small, not even paid, just kind of some longevity to the game, like Daybreak was for Legends Arceus, which really just, like, it didn't do anything plot wise. It just added some new features to play around.
But it did. I mean, those features though, like, gave a lot of life to the game, and people, like, still, like, I think one of the most returned to features of Legends Arceus was introduced, in the DLC. So
and it could be like that. I'm just saying that, I would not, if they announce DLC, I would not assume, okay, the 6 new megas are showing up here. It might be so small that's not adding 6 new ones or whatever. Also, too, we do have confirmation of 3 mega evolutions that will not be appearing in Legends EA.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, one.
How much?
Mega
just for me, how much more is on our list?
This, and then a list of returning characters, and there's only 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, great.
But
I'm dying to know.
So it has been confirmed from the leaks that Mega Rayquaza will not be in Legends EA. Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon will not be in Legends EA. You could make the guess that they're
no way
in DLC, but they're not in the base game of Legends EA. So
sure,
there's that.
I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, those are, again, our plot Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, so that does make sense.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if the Lotties will appear. There's no hard confirmation either way, but yeah, there's that. And then as for characters, like we said before, the confirmed returning characters so far are only AZ, Floette, and Emma. But we do know that Sycamore will appear in the game. Professor Sycamore will appear in the game.
Cool. Okay.
But then do
we know at which capacity? Like, what his role is?
We know that he will give you the Kanto starters again.
The Kanto starters?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't know this. this. I haven't looked at any of this stuff.
And then and it also said that by the end of the game you will know if there is a relation between you and Sycamore, and if there is, you will know what that relation could be. I am your father. You'll notice I said Sycamore gives you the Kanto starters, because Sycamore ain't your professor this time around. The professor this time around is actually Mabel from Team Flare.
Whoa.
She is redeemed
Pull it
now.
up.
Yeah,
no
pull her up
way.
because they're like the most forgettable characters of all time. Let's be real.
Dude, that's so sick.
Yeah. So yeah, that's her right there. She is the professor now. So that's kind of neat.
That's so cool. They just picked like a rrandom person.
Right, like like literally, like, did anybody know who this? Like, did anybody remember her name? You know, yeah. I love Callus, and I regularly forget their names. You know,
dude, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
look, she's the furthest away from Lysander.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man.
Then we do know Zerosic will also be appearing in this game. That is he was right there actually. He's the male admin of, I think he's
what a weirdo.
Admin. Yeah, kind of a creepy dude. He always like frightened me, honestly.
He looks like the pit bull. Doesn't he?
I see it. But that's him right there pointing at you. Yeah. We want you to join Team Flare. That's him.
Gosh.
And then
and what's his role going to be?
He is also redeemed. Don't know the extent of his role, but he is he's at least posing as a good guy. You know, I don't know if that's false or not, but he is introduced as a good guy. He's
it looks like he has
running a food truck.
It looks like he has like white paint on his face. Would love for that to just come.
I'm wondering if it's a mask. Because like, I can see that. There were like other admins. They weren't named. They were just like admins, and they wore like these white masks over their face.
Yeah.
But or they're incredibly pale, which I can't judge because honestly, I am too.
I don't think it's that. But sure.
Then kind of like this is like an implied story spoiler, but like Lysander is in the game. That is confirmed.
Whoa.
So
I didn't know this.
You didn't know this?
Crazy. I didn't know
this was like this broke before any of the other characters did.
I've been trying to stay off anything that's not just the Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's actually insane.
And he's heavily in this game. You'll run into him pretty early.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
No way. All right, that's pretty fun.
Also,
listen, this is
no gym leaders from Kalos will appear in this game.
What? All right, that's outrageous. That is actually outrageous.
I was pretty upset about that. No Clement, no Bonnie.
Maybe DLC.
I mean, I assumed Ramos was dead at this point, but
that's so crazy. I'm like,
yeah, sorry, Dusty, your boy Ramos is gone.
No, it's the hub of the region. You would think people would come visit the city. Maybe DLC. That honestly feels like DLC.
It has been implied.
The ZA system. You do the ZA tournament, and you get to the end, and it's like a gym leader.
Yeah,
what the
maybe.
heck?
It has been implied though that there will be returning characters from beyond the Kalos region. It's been implied. Now it could be that leaker thing where like they straight up lie, and then you're like, what? And they're like, no, you misinterpreted that. But it's been like one thing that was said was like Mega Phalanx is being used by a certain fighting type specialist.
Sure.
Well, Kalos' fighting type specialist is Karina, and if there's no returning, gym leaders in this game, then it can't be her. So it's like, what fighting type? One could speculate maybe that's B because Galar, Phalanx.
Yeah, maybe. I'm always advocating for like the interconnected regions. That's pretty cool.
Especially because Galar, as if you're looking real world geography, Galar would be pretty close to France.
Yeah.
That's
Listen, Lumi, that was a lot of fun to go over everything. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for Legends ZA.
Very.
When we're recording this, the Nintendo Switch 2 launches tomorrow, so I'm excited to get my hands on that to play the new Scarlet and Violet. Or not the new Scarlet and Violet. I guess the new version of Scarlet and Violet.
It is the new Scarlet and Violet, man. It's new and improved.
And I think what that's going to do is give me a little glimpse at what Legends ZA might feel like. Let us know in the comments what you're most looking forward to when it comes to Legends ZA. And if you want more, we actually have a brand new episode of Secret Power that is exclusive. That's a brand new podcast. It's up right now, available for Patreon and YouTube channel member supporters only. We also have, I don't even know, so many additional podcasts available for Patreon and YouTube channel members only.
I did the math, and it's literally like over 48 hours. So
wonderful.
It is
that's
like if you started watching right now, you would have to not sleep, not pause, and you still wouldn't be
For
done
2
until
days.
2 whole days from now. Plenty of content.
If you're looking for more stuff to listen to while you're on your commute, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're spending time outside in the garden, in this beautiful weather. Maybe you're going to the beach with family and you want to go for a walk and you want to kind of get your little Pokemon fix and you're out of content. Well, if you can join the Patreon, you can become a YouTube channel member. $5 gets you into the door and gets you access to all that content. And you can join the secret Discord. There's a bunch of other perks as well.
They're all detailed.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, links are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Yep.